Will the Broncos get right against the Bengals on Monday Night Football? We're going deep. All right, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
So, what are you going to do on Sunday now that you don't have to watch the Broncos?
I don't know. That's a good question. I might hang out, do maybe Home Depot, maybe Bed Bath and Beyond. I don't know if we'll have time. Maybe some projects around the house.
You are so married. Well, once you bring up Home Depot, Lowe's, Bed Bath and Beyond.
Well, that was actually a line from a movie. Do you know what movie?
I do not.
Will Ferrell delivered that line.
Okay.
When he was at a party with a bunch of college kids.
Old School?
Old School. There he is.
Oh, that's
right. Before Frank the Tank started taking
Frank the Tank.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah. I'll probably watch a little bit of football, but, may just have a nice, relaxing day. What about you?
I don't think that the Broncos could have played Monday Night Football at a more perfect time. I am a huge fan of the Ryder Cup. Oh. Enormous fan. It is the best event I have ever covered in 35 years of doing this.
Wow.
And that's the 12 singles matches. And even when the Broncos have played, and I've had shows, whether it's on TV or radio or with you or with Bruce, with the podcast that we do, I always find myself flipping back and forth because I cannot take my eyes off the Ryder Cup.
Oh, wow.
That's how interested I am in it. But also covering it is just a ridiculously fun event. So 12 singles matches are on Sunday.
You'll be watching all of them.
All of them.
Wow.
Now, hopefully the U.S. is in it, and it makes it far more interesting. But we will see. But at least I'll have an opportunity to watch it. With that, want to let you know this show is brought to you by Landmark Lincoln and the brand new Lincoln Navigator. If you are looking for luxury, if you are looking for comfort, if you're looking for power and speed, this is the car you need to go take for a test drive. Head down to Landmark Lincoln. You can find them off of Broadway in Inglewood. We hear the term get right game all the time. Could the Broncos have picked, honestly, a better team to get right against than the Bengals? The Bengals have a terrible defense and no Joe Burrow.
Yeah, on paper, that's a good thing. That sounds really good. But it's also something, we can talk about it in the media and as fans, but they better not be approaching it like that. Any team can come and beat you at any time, even a team that's struggling, even a team that loses his quarterback. Jake Browning, he gives the ball away. He's thrown 5 picks in like a game and a half, but he's also able to stand back there and deal a little bit. So if you underestimate him, do so at your own peril, right? And I think the Broncos will not underestimate this team. I think they'll be ready to play, and I think they will get right.
I don't mean that they're going to underestimate
them. No, I know.
I'm saying you have far more opportunities against a team that isn't very good. The Broncos have struggled on first down and second down. Sean Payton has addressed that. We need to get better at that. Is this the type of game where they can really get right offensively?
Yeah, they better. The offense has been the weakness of this team so far, which is confusing when you got a coach like Sean Payton who has such great offensive pedigree, right? And they got some offensive weapons in the offseason. J.K. Dobbins drafted R.J. Harvey. Oh, our joker. We found our joker relative to other jokers, right? Evan Ingram hasn't been a factor. This offense fits and starts.
Right.
Having issues getting the play in. Pre-snap penalties, looking confused out there, not being on the same page. This is not a Sean Payton offense. They got to figure it out in a hurry because the Bengals are also looking at the Broncos as a get-right game.
They shouldn't be.
They are because
they could. They shouldn't be.
Why shouldn't they be? The Broncos are 1-2 and haven't been playing well.
I agree they're not playing well. They have also lost to 2 teams that are undefeated.
True that.
All right. So with that, I understand the any given Sunday argument. Makes sense to me. But getting back to this game against the Bengals really quickly, if you take advantage of a get-right game and suddenly things are clicking, I understand that an NFL season is like a book. It is 17 chapters, and chapter 1 doesn't necessarily relate to chapter 3. But if you do get right offensively, now you're moving the ball on first down and second down, and now you have third and short and so on and so forth. How much can that carry over to the next game, which for the Broncos would be chapter 5? because they're playing chapter 4 on Monday. Can that carry over to chapter 5?
Sure.
And I know they're playing the Eagles, but I'm saying in general.
Yeah. You look at every opponent as beatable.
Right.
Okay. And this goes back to what we were talking about on Monday's Going Deep show, Eric. Can you learn to win? Can you learn to win? And you do so by putting together a good game and maybe beating an opponent that's a little worse than you, but feeling good about what you did. You executed on offense. You quit with the penalties, the sloppy stuff, and you're able to put up some points and play a complete game. All of a sudden, you start having confidence and believing in yourself. Maybe you make some smart decisions down the stretch of the game to ice it for yourself, and then you go into Philly feeling pretty confident about yourself. So I do think this game could have that effect.
I think this game is the absolute tipping point of their entire season. Tipping point.
Must win?
Absolutely. It's a tipping point for this reason. If for some reason let's start it if they win. If they win this game, they're going to go to Philadelphia next. I don't think they'll win that game. But with that, let's look at what they have on the schedule moving forward. I am not a look at the schedule, win, loss, win, win. I'm not that guy. But now that we're into the season, we have a better idea of who these teams are. The people that go win, loss, do it in April.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But now that we are 3 games into the season, things have changed for some teams. With that, no Burrow for the Bengals. Then you get the Eagles. I get that. After that, you're playing the winless Jets, the winless Giants, who are now starting Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
The Cowboys don't have CeeDee Lamb. And then you get the winless Texans. I'm not saying the Texans are going to be winless by the time that game happens. But right now, the bottom line is they are winless. Why is this a tipping point? If they lose this game, they will be 1-3.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to beat the Eagles, all due respect to the Broncos. Then they're 1-4.
Right.
There aren't too many 1-4 teams that make the playoffs.
Some do, though.
Some do.
Especially with the next 4 games that you just mentioned. Let's say they're 1-4, then they win the next 4, then they're 5-4, and they're back in the mix.
They're back in the mix, and I get that. So if they lose this game on Monday, lose to the Eagles, they need to go 9-2 the rest of the way in order to go 10-7.
Yeah.
And to me, despite that schedule, that's only a handful of games. You still have the Packers coming up. You still have the Chiefs coming up twice. You still have the Chargers again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't see 9-2 over that stretch. If they win this game and then they lose to the Eagles, 8-4, if my math is correct, seems a lot more logical to me.
Yeah, I think the bigger concern for me would not be that mathematically it would be a difficult haul to make the playoffs. It would be.
By the way, my math is off on that. 9-2 and 8-4. That's 11, and then that's 12. So it would be like 8-3 the rest of the way, something like that.
So my concern would not be about the math. It would be about the fact that this team, who was supposed to be a lot better. Your head coach went in national media and talked about the Super Bowl window opening, started the season 1-3 and played really some bad football. And then the tide starts to turn. If the Broncos are 1-3, I'm not thinking about the math to make the playoffs. I'm thinking about what the hell is wrong with this team.
No question.
And they got to get this figured out. What is not clicking here? That's the diagnosis that'll have to be made. And the Broncos understand how important this game is. To the narrative around them, to the feeling in the locker room, to Sean Payton's mood on it every day when he walks into the facility.
Right.
If they lose this game, it's going to be bad around there.
The villagers are going to be outside with pitchforks and torches.
Well, no.
And they should be.
Okay.
They should be, shouldn't they? Because if this is a get-right game, and it is, again, you have a shitty Bengals defense. No Joe Burrow. If you can't figure out how to beat this team, you are much further away than you think you are.
I think you're downgrading the Bengals a little bit too much.
48-10.
I would like to.
They just lost a game 48-10 to a backup quarterback with the Vikings.
Who is in first place in their division?
In which division?
In the Bengals division. Who's in first place?
The Bengals are.
The Bengals are in first place.
They won 2 games with Joe Burrow. They got blown out without him. Totally different dynamic. Yeah, I know that.
Hold on a second. If it would be cool if I could make some points, The Bengals won their first game. Joe Burrow threw for like 117 yards. Bad game for Joe Burrow, but they found a way to win. They won by a point. I think they beat the Bengals, who weren't very good either, right? Joe Burrow left in the middle of that next game, and Jake Browning came in and did the most of the work to get him that win number 2. It's dangerous to call them a crappy team. Yeah, they've given up. The last game was really bad for them. Really bad, man. It was 40 whatever points they gave up to, but they give up to Carson Wentz, who has some experience coming off the bench. So it's not like, it's not like some scrub came off the bench. No, a guy with some experience who understood the moment, was able to capitalize on it. This defense is vulnerable, no doubt about it, but they got some weapons on offense.
They do.
Yeah. And the Broncos defense has been struggling a little bit the last couple weeks, specifically against the Colts. I thought they played pretty well against the Chargers, but yeah, I mean, I think that this Bengals team is not as bad as you're saying they are.
Their defense is bad.
Yeah, they have they are in first place. They're 2-1, but they have a minus 33 point differential in first place because of this last game.
Right.
Because this last game. And I have a lot of respect for a team after having a loss like that, what they'll do the next week, because they're professionals, right? They have a lot of professional integrity. They're going to get their asses chewed out this week. They're going to get reamed, Eric. Right. And so they're going to come out on fire trying to, and this is a national stage. It's Monday Night Football. Everybody gets up for that, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's about, honestly, I think it comes down to Sean Payton and his offensive game plan, how this game is going to go.
Help explain this to me. The Broncos offensive line statistically is the best of pass blocking in the league right now.
Yeah.
Garrett Bolles is leading the charge. He's a whole different conversation. I feel so good for this guy on so many levels. We'll get into that in a minute. But when you're the best pass blocking team in the league, why is their pass offense so, for the most part, inept?
You know the answer. It's Bo. He's not playing well. He's not seeing what's in front of him. He's not setting his feet. He looks anxious back there. They're not on the same page with the receivers. So when they're not on the same page with the receivers, it doesn't mean it's all Bo. Maybe the receivers aren't sitting in the right spot, but the passing, the skill position players on offense play a much different game than the offensive line does.
Right.
And the offensive line may be protecting it pretty well, but Bo is seeing something different. He's getting anxious in the pocket. He's stepping up, running around. Guys aren't in the right places. One thing that Jake Plummer told me that Bill Walsh told him was that you never look at your receivers. You look at the defense. You'll move them around with your eyes. You know where your receivers are going to be. You throw it to them because you know they're going to be in that spot. You don't look at them. Well, Bo doesn't know where they're going to be, right? They're not on the same page yet. And so that's, I think, that inconsistency on offense.
Let's get into Bolles for a second.
Yeah.
You never covered him. I did. When he got here, to say he was disliked by his offensive line is an understatement.
Really?
Yes, very much so. And how many times did you hear holding number 72? And the crowd got into it. Right now, he is easily a top 5 left tackle in this league. Right now, statistically, when it comes to pass blocking, he is the best in the league. Is Garrett Bolles a cautionary tale for a lot of teams? Just be patient.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we jump the gun a lot of times when we determine the value of a player, especially when, all players, wherever they're drafted, especially that sometimes the higher draft picks with a lot of expectation, we want to write them off as busts or whatever it might be. And I think, it pays to give these guys some room to grow and not to put too much on them. I mean, the quarterback is the position that gets the most scrutiny, but the left tackle does as well because he's protecting that quarterback. Right. And so, Garrett Bolles got called for a lot of holding penalties early in his career. Well, he was trying to protect his quarterback. He didn't have the technique yet. He started playing football pretty late in his career, in his youth.
Right.
Like, I don't think he was a lifer football guy. I think he started in like college or like late in high school. Right. So there's some techniques and things that come along later, but he's a fantastic athlete. He stuck with it, and now he's beloved, and now he's one of the best. Like you said, it's a pretty awesome success story.
It really is. Garrett Bolles had a tough childhood growing up.
Yep.
He is your classic example. He needs a hug. you cannot kick this guy in the ass.
Right.
He doesn't respond well to that.
Hmm.
He responds well to love. He doesn't respond well to yelling. And I'm sure you have played with plenty of guys like that. It's funny when, you look at coaches and they basically treat everybody the same. Why? This is how I coach. When you have a 53-man roster, it's psychology and different types of therapy for all 53 guys. It cannot be one size fits all.
Yeah, that's why you got so many coaches. You got your position coaches who really are like the therapist. They see you the most, and they're going to talk you down when you're feeling like you got chewed out by the coordinator or even the head coach. Like the head coach he's got a lot on his plate. He can't necessarily have a different approach to every guy. He's got to deliver the big picture message, and then it's the coaches underneath to disseminate that. The coordinators, in my opinion, are there to give the game plan to the offense or the defense and show you exactly what you're doing. And then when you get in your individual groups, that's when this coach knows your heart, and he knows what you're going through. And maybe you share things about your family or what, because you guys talk a lot in that room, a lot more than you do in the main room. And so it does take a tender touch from those position coaches to understand who you're dealing with and to give a little something different for each guy based on what they need and their personality.
Mike Munchak changed the trajectory of Garrett Bolles' career.
Yeah.
And now Zach Strief is just continuing what Mike Munchak did with Garrett Bolles. Here's a pat on the back, not a kick in the ass.
Yeah. Sometimes you need a kick in the ass, it's the good cop, bad cop thing. And I think Sean Payton's probably the kick in the ass guy.
He is.
And he stands in front of the team and kicks everyone in the ass.
Are there good cop, bad cop type of scenarios where the coach is the good cop and the position coach is the bad cop, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think so. I think
and is it effective?
Sometimes. I mean, I've been around position coaches who were the bad cop too. That's just like, Jesus, like, give it a rest. This is a lot, because like when they glom onto one guy, and they'll usually have like one project guy in the group. It's usually a rookie or someone that they really want to bring along. Typically a rookie, typically a high drafted rookie, and you'll just hear this guy yelling at him day in and day out. You'll hear his voice penetrating over all the other voices, and that can get grating on this guy. So whether it's another coach to put the arm around him or a veteran to put the arm around the young guy and let him understand that, and just block out the style of this message. Listen to the words he's telling you, but the style, let that go.
But how difficult is that to do for a guy who performs better with love as opposed to yelling all the time? Because there are plenty of coaches that yell all the time. And to your point, you got to compartmentalize it, which is listen to what I'm saying, not how I say it.
Right. And it is hard if a guy has a really strong personality, the coach, and likes to yell, likes to hear himself yell. Because a lot of position coaches, most position coaches want to be head coaches. Every coach wants to be the man, right? They all have the book that they're silently creating about how they would do it when they get the chance. And a lot of them want that chance. Some don't. Some like to stay in their lane. But for the most part, these guys want bigger roles than they have, right? And so sometimes these position coaches are performing at practice for the head coach, so he thinks that they're great. He's on top of it. Look at him coaching his ass off over there. So he wants everyone to hear all the coaching points and how passionate he is about it. Well, most head coaches aren't dumb either. They're not like, oh, that guy's got it. I'm going to, typically you want to empower someone who understands players and connects with them, right?
I think a lot of people would think if somebody's yelling at you, it motivates you. When you played, did you respond better to a yeller, or did you respond better to someone who didn't yell as much?
Didn't yell as much, for sure. Like, I was not someone who needed to be yelled at because I was already giving maximum effort. I was not usually the yelling happens when someone's not trying as hard as they should. That I think warrants some yelling. If you're dragging ass out there, everyone's going full speed except you. Whoa, what do you got going on, Eric? Get your head out of your ass.
Right.
Yes, coach.
Right.
I'm ready now. Sometimes if you are lollygagging or dragging ass, you deserve to get yelled at. But if there's maximum effort out there and you just made a mistake, it's like a mental mistake. Oh, come on. Let's save it.
Sometimes you look at a coach and how he's treating you. Give me off the top of your head when you played, who were your offensive coordinators and position coaches? I want names. Who were? Just give me some of those guys because I'm trying to make a point.
Steve Watson was my receiver coach when I first got here.
Okay, who else were your
Tim Brewster was the tight end coach.
Okay,
he was at CU, and then
Tim Brewster's a different cat, though.
Well, yeah, he was he was the guy who's going to get in your kitchen.
Correct.
And that didn't always, not everyone didn't love that.
Right.
He didn't get mine because I wasn't his project.
Right. Mike Heimerdinger is one of your coaches.
Mike Heimerdinger.
Mike Shanahan's one of your coaches.
Jeremy Bates was an offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Pat McPherson was a tight end coach.
Okay. With that, if any of those guys did not play in the NFL, and there are many coaches who have never played in the NFL,
do
you look at them and go, what the fuck do you know? You never played in the league.
No, because you understand that's how the league is made up. Now, there are moments when a certain coaching point or something they say to you doesn't make sense, and then you do look at them that way. But for the most part, they're smart. They're in that position. They know what they're talking about.
Would you have more respect if they played in the league?
Not necessarily. Like Steve Watson did,
right?
And he was a great receiver coach. He the way he looked at the game was a little different from a guy who was just a graduate assistant and then became boom, 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 and never played.
My point is they understand how you feel because they played in the league.
Right.
When you're getting coached by guys who never played, you're like, you don't understand how I feel.
Right. I understand that. But most of the best coaches to ever live didn't play. I mean, Mike Shanahan didn't play.
Correct.
He played in college, but like Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells, I mean, they probably played a little bit, but they didn't really play. Right. And so there's an understanding that football is made up of a hierarchical system, hierarchical system.
Hierarchy. Just try and say the word hierarchy, which is easy to do, but now put it in a sentence so you don't have to say hierarchical.
I'm just going to.
How would Sean Payton say that?
Relative to the hierarchy.
No, how would he say hierarchical?
Hierarchical.
Right.
Yeah. Players understand that a lot of coaches didn't play. And that's why there needs to be a line that they toe. When you all of a sudden start calling a player names and challenging his manhood, that's when he can get bad. And I always marveled at the fact that a coach didn't get punched in the face because they do cross the line.
Right.
And these guys they're crossing the line with could absolutely snap them in half and eat them right in front of everyone.
Right.
And they don't. And that shows that there's this father figure sort of feeling in football, always wanting to please the father. The coach is the father figure. The head coach is, the main patriarch. Right. But all those other coaches, they're father figures. And they look at, they love up on you like you're their son. A lot of these guys, we all come to this city. We leave our families, whether we have relationships with our father or not, whether he's around or not. We come here and we become sort of a son to these guys. And so you don't want to disappoint them. And when your dad, even if you can snap your dad in half, you don't because you respect him and you respect the position you're in on that football field.
Once again, this show brought to you by Landmark Lincoln and the brand new Lincoln Navigator. You got to go take this thing for a test drive. It has everything that you want in a ride: luxury, comfort, power, speed. It's just a fun car to spin around for a test drive. And once you do, you're going to say, I really want to get this car. So if you do, head on over to Landmark Lincoln. You can find them off of Broadway in Inglewood. How high were you on this? Well, okay. Sorry. How high are you now?
I love the start of that question.
How high are you right now?
Not very.
Okay, not very.
Well, you brought out.
It's for medical reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is, how high were you on this Broncos draft class, contributing pretty quickly? Just give me a quick answer because I have a follow-up.
Not very.
Not very.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'll let you do the follow-up, but I'll really quickly. I don't really expect drafts picks to contribute very quickly.
Okay. With that, let's look at what the draft class has contributed to this team. Jahdae Barron is averaging 17 snaps a game.
Okay.
RJ Harvey is averaging 4 carries per game.
Yeah.
Pat Bryant, 10 snaps per game.
Yeah.
Savion Jones and Q Robinson, who look great in training camp, haven't played.
Yeah.
The best guy has been the guy we worried the most about, Jeremy Crawshaw.
All right, straight away.
So he didn't play well in the preseason, and then they changed around his routine to actually punt in situational
situations
in practice.
Yeah.
He has gotten the message, and he is playing better.
Well, they also added Vegemite and Tim Tams and Milo and kangaroo chunk meat to the training table.
Well done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Are you surprised that no rookie has really contributed at all?
I'm not, because they don't usually. Like, they don't. And I think on a good team,
but when you watch them in practice, you're like, this guy can contribute.
Yeah, and he will. But games are so much different. There's so much different. Practice is set up to let these guys really, to see if they can digest the system, to give them opportunities to get in the rhythm. But once the games start, man, you really, especially the first half, you got to lean on the veterans. And I'm fine with RJ Harvey not carrying a load right now. J.K. Dobbins is healthy and he's playing the best out of any running back. Give him the ball. J.K. Dobbins should be your workhorse right now. He hasn't played a full season yet. You don't know if he's going to get hurt or whatever. Give J.K. Dobbins the ball. Shedeur Barron, this is a stacked secondary.
Moss hasn't played that well.
I don't think he's played poorly. They're going after him.
Yeah, sure.
And when they go after him, they're under 50% completion. Right. And that last play against Keenan Allen, he had a really good coverage. It was a nice play.
But didn't you think that RJ Harvey, as a second round pick, would have more of an impact by now?
No.
He had a 50-yard run. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. He had a 50-yard run.
Yeah.
Other than that, he hasn't really contributed. When he came in, I think all of us thought this guy might start.
I didn't think that. And it's because I don't think rookies are ready week one.
Right.
I just don't. There's too much to learn, and the season is too long. I think RJ Harvey will have an impact on this team in the second half of the season. I think the first half, you got to lean on your veterans. They know the routine of the week. They know what to expect. They're used to it. There's so much confusion for a rookie. There's so many question marks. You heard Bo talking about it this offseason. Last year I was just trying to figure out where to go eat lunch and where to do this and who to talk to when I need this.
Right.
There's that element of it. And so you're kind of unsure of yourself. The second half of the season, I think RJ Harvey will be fresh. He'll be healthy and he'll start to feel the confidence. And while other guys start to kind of wear down, he'll be an asset.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but here it is.
Oh.
3 years from now, who's the most impactful rookie from this class?
3 years from now. Can I say Jeremy Crawshaw? No, I don't.
Well, you just did.
I did. I think it's going to be Pat Bryant. I think it will be Pat Bryant. Shedeur Barron, by all accounts, a fantastic piece and very versatile. I haven't seen it to me that makes me think, wow, this guy's going to be something. But I think Pat Bryant is going to work his way into being a significant part of the offense.
Right.
You never know with the running backs. And Sean Payton, is Sean Payton ever going to make a running back blossom? That's what we got to figure out. So far, no. He's only had 2 1,000-yard rushers in his entire tenure as a head coach for 19 seasons. Mark Ingram had it a couple times under him. Barely over 1,000, 1,063 or 1,100. It's not and then Deuce McAllister, his very first year in New Orleans, had over 1,000 yards. Other than that, he doesn't do it. He never did it with Reggie Bush. He didn't do it with Alvin Kamara. He didn't do it with Darren Sproles. None of those guys got 1,000 yards under him.
Right.
So I don't know how we can expect it with these guys.
I think Broncos fans would love nothing more than to see Russell Wilson walk into the Coliseum with a pack of lions. And it doesn't look like Broncos fans are going to get that opportunity.
No.
Again.
Yeah.
He didn't play when the Broncos played the Steelers last year, and now it looks like he's not going to play for the Giants. How disappointed are you to not see Russell Wilson likely on the field when the Giants come to town?
Yeah, it would have been cool. But I think the Russell thing, man, it's I think Broncos fans are kind of over it now. I think
there is still blood. If he went on the field, you might as well pour a bucket of water, a bucket of blood in there.
A bucket of blood
for the Sharks.
Yeah.
What do you think his reception would be?
They'd boo him.
They sure would. And every time something bad happens, they would love it.
Well, who do you think would have a better chance of beating the Broncos, Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart?
Who do you think would love to see Russell Wilson on the field more than anybody?
Vance Joseph?
Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton, yeah. Yeah, Russell still believes in himself, though. Believe it, believe it, believe
Right.
it. He says he's not done. This is his third team in 3 seasons, and it just hasn't gone well with Russell. But Russell's a cautionary tale for the way we're treating this expectation around Bo. That Bo is just going to be the savior. I had so many discussions with people when Russell got here. This is not guaranteed to work. Russell Wilson is not guaranteed to do anything here. Just because he's what he did in Seattle and what people are saying and the contract that they gave him, Russell Wilson might stink here. He might be gone in 2 years. Well, no one believed that was possible. He was gone in 2 years. The Penners ate that money. The good thing about it is they are willing to eat the money of a bad decision and move in the other direction.
Right.
And so you got to feel good about that with your owners.
I think when Russell Wilson got demoted from being the starting quarterback with the Giants, fast forward to Seattle at team headquarters, people were running up and down the hallways yelling, "I told you so."
Oh, it's happened to him the last, I guess.
That's my point.
Yeah.
They felt
in 3 straight places.
They felt he was done. They felt they got one over on the Broncos. First of all, they did, especially with the contract. Then throw in the play. It's really not like the Seahawks got much in return with Drew Lock and Noah Fant and who else? With Shelby.
Yeah.
Shelby's still playing with the Cleveland Browns. I get that. But the more Russell Wilson gets demoted or doesn't play well, they're loving it in Seattle because they're saying we were right.
Yeah.
We were right.
Yeah, he brings a circus, and it's like it's good that the Broncos have moved on from that. Noah Fant, though, coming to town on Monday.
Can't wait.
Plays for the Bengals.
Can't wait to see those alligator arms.
Well, it's Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki, so they actually have some decent tight ends there.
Gesicki's a really good player.
Yeah.
I mean, would I call him top 5?
No.
Noah Fant doesn't block, and he's afraid to go over the middle. Other than that, he's terrific.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some experience, and he worked on his blocking. He got a little better at it. So,
okay.
I wouldn't say he's great at blocking, but yeah, they got some weapons on offense.
Is Wilson, I believe, is a Hall of Famer.
Oh.
Has he taken himself out of the running to be a first ballot guy?
I don't even know how those people think of that. Like the people who decide that. Is it based on what why is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer?
Why?
Yeah.
Because he won a ton of games.
He did.
Put up big numbers.
He did.
Other than that, I don't know. He won a Super Bowl, and he was a bad call away from winning 2.
What is the criteria to get into the Hall of Fame as a quarterback?
Super Bowls play a huge role.
Mm-hmm.
Statistics play a huge role.
So is Eli Manning?
Eli Manning should not be a Hall of Famer.
He won 2?
I understand that. I know he won 2.
Okay.
When you look at what he has, his career directly mirrors, if you take away Super Bowls, his career directly mirrors Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was a marginal quarterback in the regular season.
What if
Whole career. Same with Eli Manning. Eli Manning was a marginal quarterback, but David Tyree made a great catch, and oh, by the way, Eli Manning made a great move to get him get him that.
Yeah,
he was the beneficiary of a really good running game and a really good defense. Good on him.
So was Russell Wilson, right?
He was, but that defense wasn't the same defense after all those guys started leaving. But Eli Manning played in New York. That holds a lot of weight,
and his last name does too.
His last name holds a lot of weight, and those 2 Super Bowl wins were over Tom Brady. So his career has been defined by winning 2 Super Bowls. Other than that, he was a marginal quarterback his whole career. He should not be in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. But he has the Manning name. He beat Brady twice, and he has 2 Super Bowls.
So will he get in?
Of course. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
What about Alex Smith?
No.
What about, Drew Brees will. What about Phillip Rivers?
To me, Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame talent. Yes.
His numbers are pretty great.
Yes.
He played for a long time.
He won a lot of games. They just
never won a Super Bowl.
And
did he even ever go to a Super Bowl?
No.
So why is he getting in? Just some big numbers?
Because he was.
I thought you had to win the big one.
Well, tell that to Dan Marino. I mean,
Well, Dan Marino's not Phil. You know, that's apples and fire trucks, not even apples and oranges. There.
Okay, Jim Kelly should be a Hall of Famer. Never won a Super Bowl. I think we put too much emphasis on winning a Super Bowl.
Jim Kelly is a Hall of Famer.
I understand
He
that.
went to 4 straight Super Bowls,
but he never won one.
But he went to 4.
I get that. But, well, people complain about Marv Levy being in the Hall of Fame. Well, he never won a Super Bowl. Bud Granson too.
Wait, but
he
you
lost
said
score
that
as well.
That was a super. You had to like that was the criteria for getting.
That's not my criteria.
Oh.
That is the criteria for others.
Right.
I think you need to look at their entire career. Eli Manning was average to better than average. Just go look at his numbers.
Is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer?
No.
You won a Super. No, he didn't. He went to one.
He won an MVP.
Yeah, he won an MVP.
Okay.
Russell Wilson never won an MVP.
Russell Wilson won a ton of games, and his numbers are great. If he would have retired from the Seattle Seahawks and didn't go to Denver or Pittsburgh or now the Giants, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He would.
Yeah.
For Mike Shanahan, why is he not in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. That's
ironically, well, it's a double-edged sword for him. Okay. I've been told by a voter, one reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame is because of what he did in Washington. That tarnished his career.
Can't be.
I'm telling you what a voter told me.
I know, and I'm telling that voter to shove it.
Okay. He wasn't good in Washington. Daniel Snyder played a major role in that.
He did.
Because he's a terrible owner. But what is keeping him out now will eventually get him in, which is look at his coaching staff.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to get in. He won 2 Super Bowls, but I've said this to you before. I have a hard time putting a guy in the Hall of Fame. I understand he won 2.
No,
I have a hard time putting a guy in the Hall of Fame who, after winning 2 Super Bowls, won a single playoff game.
So the early success followed by later failure leaves the coaches out, but it's okay for Russell Wilson and it keeps him in.
Russell Wilson went to the playoffs all the time.
We went to the playoffs all the time. When Jake was there, we went 3 straight.
But
years.
you didn't win. You won 1 game.
We went to the AFC Championship.
You won 1 game.
We went 13-3, and we got a bye. You holding that against us?
In the playoffs, you won a single game.
Mike Shanahan, not only before.
I'm not saying he shouldn't be in.
No, you're kind of making that argument.
What I'm saying to you is Mike Shanahan and Russell Wilson, there are similarities there.
Mike Shanahan, you got to remember before he came here, too, won a Super Bowl the year before he came here with the Niners, with basically the best offense ever.
I believe Mike Shanahan
had 3 straight years of #1 offenses as offensive coordinator in San Francisco.
I believe Mike Shanahan should be in the Hall of Fame. The reason he is not at this moment is because of what happened in Washington. I was told that by a voter who sits in the room. Those are the conversations, but I think he will eventually get in.
The voters fuck up all the time. I mean, they make Randy Gradishar wait 40 years to put him in. Why?
Right.
Why? This guy has over 2,000 tackles. You can dispute the numbers all you want, but over 2,000 tackles. There's only 2 other guys with over 2,000 tackles in their careers. London Fletcher, Ray Lewis.
Here,
Randy Gradishar waits 40 years. So they do this all the time. There's like this pecking order. You have to get in line and wait. Mike Shanahan, aside from the 2 Super Bowl wins, a Super Bowl win as offensive coordinator, the coaching tree you talk about, there's the system that's still being used today, marrying the wide zone running game with the West Coast offense. Mike Shanahan put those together. He changed the game in that regard.
I'll tell you the biggest highway robbery when it comes to the Hall of Fame is, and I'll come out and say it. You want to argue with me? I'll argue this with you all day. Carl Mecklenburg was a better player than Randy Gradishar.
I can't argue that. I don't have intimate enough knowledge.
He played all 7 positions.
Yeah.
He played where his team needed him, and he excelled at every single one. If you put him at middle linebacker for his entire career, his career achievements in terms of Pro Bowls, all pros, would be greater than Randy Gradishar.
Well, both were awesome players.
And it's not a knock on Randy. Carl Mecklenburg has been overlooked. He is Shohei Ohtani. He is Babe Ruth.
The White Rhino.
Pitching and hitting. How about playing all 7 positions?
Yeah.
How many guys in the NFL can play all 7 positions?
Not a lot, but
how about no one?
Well, you're sitting across from a guy who played receiver, moved to tight end, played every single special teams, was the emergency kicker and the emergency quarterback. Put me in the Hall of Fame, baby.
Well, if you also played right guard and left tackle, that's when he played all 7 positions. And when he played middle linebacker,
right guard, he played offense as well.
no.
Oh, if I had, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You played 2 positions on offense.
Yeah, he played all on the front 7 of
He
defense.
played all 7.
Yeah.
And he was really good at all of them.
Yeah.
But his best was middle linebacker.
Yeah.
That was his best position. And when he played middle linebacker, he was either a Pro Bowler or a All-Pro. But they didn't keep him there because they needed him in other places.
Yeah.
That guy should be in the Hall of Fame just for the simple reason he played all 7 positions at a high level.
Well, maybe he'll get in because
he'll never get in.
Why?
Because
aren't they starting to give some more attention to the Orange Crush guys and paying attention to the older school Broncos? I mean, now that you have an owner with
Carl Mecklenburg wasn't an Orange Crush guy. Orange Crush was 77.
Right.
Carl came into the league in 83.
Okay.
When he came in, Randy was leaving.
Right. So so now that the influence of the Penner Walton group being the most, richest owners in the league, they might have more influence now to get some of these old school guys in.
No. Here, why do they have no influence? Pat Bowlen had a ton of influence. He was on a lot of different committees. Randy Gradishar did not go into the Hall of Fame under his watch. That's why I'm saying it's the ownership doesn't make a difference at all.
How do you know that?
Because Randy did not get in when Pat Bowlen was the owner. That's why. You just said to me, you think the Penners might have influence on who gets in the Hall of Fame. Bowlen didn't have influence. He had what was as criminal as anything else is Jerry Jones got into the Hall of Fame before Pat Bowlen did. Mm-hmm. That should tell you how valuable Pat Bowlen's opinion apparently was or was not. Randy should have been in when Pat Bowlen owned the team, and Pat Bowlen's influence.
So why wasn't he?
Why wasn't he what?
Why wasn't he what?
Why didn't he get in under Pat Bowlen?
Yeah.
I've no idea, but you're saying the Penners might be able to influence more guys going in.
Yeah.
If Pat Bowlen couldn't.
Money talks.
Well, it's not like the Penners are donating to the league like it's a nonprofit, right?
They're building a $5 billion stadium that's going to be the crown jewel of the league.
But what does that have to do with Hall of Fame voting? The NFL does not decide who gets into the Hall of Fame.
Who decides?
The voters.
And who are the voters?
The media. You
people like you?
I don't have a vote.
Why not?
Do you think for a minute?
Why don't you have a vote, Eric? That's what we got to get to the bottom of here.
Because I'm not qualified enough.
Oh.
Are you?
Yeah.
You are?
I know the game. I played, man.
I know you did. But you got to go back. If you're going to bring back guys from the 60s and 70s and 80s, and how old are you? You're like, how old are you? Emotionally, you're 12. But on the Gregorian calendar, how old are you?
13.
Nice. That's going to do it for us. I think we went deep. Make it the best possible day you can.